You know that feeling when trust in a relationship just shatters? It can honestly feel like the end of the world. The whole foundation is gone, and everything just feels so uncertain. But what if, just what if, that break isn't actually an ending? What if it's a chance to rebuild something even stronger than before? Well, in this explainer, we're going to walk through the roadmap for exactly how to do that, step by step.
So, this is the big one, right? The question at the heart of it all, can you actually repair broken trust? I mean, when you've been hurt or you're the one who's caused the hurt, it's so easy to think, that's it, it's broken for good. But is it? Is that really true? The answer? Yes. A big, hopeful yes. It absolutely can be repaired, but here's the thing. It doesn't happen by magic. And just waiting for time to pass, that's not going to cut it either. It takes real intention, some serious hard work, and most importantly, a clear, practical plan that both people can actually follow. And you know what? That's exactly what we're going to lay out for you right now.
All right, let's dive into section 1, facing the break. This is where our journey begins. And look, it's probably the most difficult part, but it's also the most important. We're talking about confronting the damage head on. Because let's be real, you can't fix a problem until you're both willing to look it straight in the eye.
Okay, step one, you have to understand exactly what was broken. And this means getting super specific. Vague stuff like I messed up just isn't going to work. You need to identify the exact action that caused the harm. Then, and this is crucial, the person who was hurt needs the space to explain how that felt from their perspective without being interrupted or hearing any excuses. This isn't about pointing fingers or a blame game. It's about getting on the same page, creating a shared understanding of the problem you're about to tackle together.
So right here, at this stage, you come to a fork in the road, and there are really only two paths you can take. On one side, you've got excuses and blame. That road, it only leads to more confusion, more resentment, and zero progress. But then there's the other path, admission and honesty. Is it harder? Oh, for sure. But it's the only one that actually opens the door to real healing.
And that path of honesty, it leads directly to a genuine apology. But what does that even mean? It's so much more than just saying the words, I'm sorry. A real apology shows that you get it. You understand why what you did was hurtful. It shows you truly regret causing that pain, and it shows you're ready to do the work to make things right. And, this is key, you do all of this without pressuring the other person to forgive you on the spot. Think of it this way. A good apology isn't the finish line, it's the starting gate. All right, moving on to section 2, building the new framework. So you've got the truth out on the table, a real apology has been offered, now what? Now we get to the phase where words have to become actions. This is all about building a totally new foundation. To rebuild trust, you need a structure, something to make everyone feel safe again. And that structure is built with clear boundaries. Now, these are not punishments, okay? They're just new, clear rules for how you're going to interact. It could be anything, really. Maybe it's about agreeing on being more transparent with your phones, or setting rules for how you'll communicate during a fight. The point is, these rules protect both of you while you heal. Look, a vague promise to be better is pretty much meaningless, right? Change has to be specific. It has to be something you can actually see and measure. So instead of saying, I'll try to be more thoughtful, a real plan says something like, from now on, I will call you every single day at 6 p.m. when I leave the office. See the difference? It's about creating new, reliable habits and then tracking them openly, together, so that the progress is visible to everyone. And this quote right here, it gets to the absolute heart of the matter. Trust isn't rebuilt with one big, grand, romantic gesture. It's just not. It's rebuilt in the small, steady, sometimes even boring moments. It's the day in, day out repetition of trustworthy actions. When it comes to rebuilding trust, consistency is literally everything. So what does that consistency actually look like in real life? Well, it's all about the small stuff. It's keeping your promises every single time. It's following through on that daily commitment you both agreed on. It's choosing to tell the truth, even when it's uncomfortable. Think of each of these actions as a single brick. One by one, day by day, you're building a solid wall of reliability. Okay, section 3, the healing journey. So you've got a plan, you're taking action, things are moving. That's the logical side of things, but that's only half the battle. Now we have to talk about the emotional side of this journey, and that requires a completely different kind of strength. We're talking about patience. And this is maybe the most important thing to burn into your brain right now. Healing is not a straight line. It just isn't. There are going to be good days and there are going to be really bad days. You'll have moments of incredible hope, and then suddenly a flash of that old fear or anger comes rushing back. And guess what? That's totally normal. Healing is messy. If you expect a smooth, perfect recovery, you're just setting yourself up for frustration. So, rebuilding logical trust, knowing someone will do what they say, that's one thing. But rebuilding that emotional bond, that feeling of closeness, that's another beast entirely. And the way you do that is by slowly, gently creating new, positive memories that can start to outweigh the painful ones. It doesn't have to be complicated. Just spending quiet time together without any pressure, offering simple reassurance. These are the small, gentle ways you start to find your way back to each other. Now, as you're on this healing journey, you have to be on the lookout for landmines, those old patterns that can trigger a major setback. Things like keeping little secrets or using sarcastic comments that cut deep. That stuff can bring all the old pain right back to the surface in an instant. The antidote? You have to consciously build the opposite habits. We're talking about radical open communication, real mutual respect, and a commitment to facing problems head-on as a team. And that brings us to our final section, making trust last. We're looking at the future now, because here's the secret. Rebuilding trust isn't a project that you just finish. It doesn't have an end date. The real goal is to weave all these new, healthier habits into the very fabric of your relationship so they just become part of your daily life. So you're putting in all this work. It's hard, it's exhausting. How do you actually know if it's working? How can you tell if you're making a difference? Well, the good news is, even though progress can feel slow, it leaves behind some pretty clear clues. Let's take a look at what they are. Okay, the first sign of progress is often really subtle. It's just more relaxed communication. You'll notice the conversations start to feel a little bit lighter. You're not walking on eggshells quite as much. There's this small, but totally noticeable return of just ease. The next big sign, you'll feel less fear or suspicion. That constant state of being on high alert, it starts to fade. The urge to check up on them, to question everything, to doubt, it just starts to quiet down. And in its place, a sense of safety, even if it's a little fragile at first, starts to grow back. And this is the big one. You start to feel like a team again. You're facing the world together instead of facing off against each other. When a problem comes up, your gut instinct is to turn toward your partner to solve it, not turn away from them. That's a huge sign of progress. So, what's the secret sauce for keeping this new, hard-won trust strong for the long haul? It's realizing that trust isn't a destination you arrive at. It's a daily practice. It's not something you achieve once and then you're done. It's an ongoing, continuous commitment to honesty, to respecting boundaries, and to holding each other accountable every single day. And I want to leave you with this really powerful thought. I know it can be so hard to believe this when you're in the middle of all the pain, but it's true. Successfully navigating a breach of trust can actually force you to build communication skills and a level of raw honesty that maybe you never even had before. By facing the break, by doing the hard work, by rebuilding with intention, you have the chance to create a connection that isn't just repaired, but is actually deeper, more resilient, and more authentic than it ever was before.